Well, hello everyone, and welcome back for another discussion. Today I have a question to talk about, I guess, or a framing through a question. Is there such thing as too much truth? I love truth. We've talked about that a lot, and I guess I was thinking about this because I don't know, like I don't know. I guess I worry. Like, can I make a channel that is devoted mostly to truth and actually make that work? Would it be too much if literally everything I do is just talking about truth, debating where is the truth, debating what is the information in various places, trying to get at that truth? Is that is that uh, is that enough to build around? I guess I don't know. It's like my favorite thing. I love talking about it. I think that's why I love that gray area between what we know and what we know is possible. Like, I think that area is the area that is the most fun to seek truth in. So I like talking about, all kinds of subjects that we don't know. Like archaeology is interesting. I was watching. I've been binging on this new channel I found, and I probably am going to talk about that. I guess I'm just worried that I don't know enough about archaeology to speak my mind on it. But I know some of the things that I complain about, so maybe I could make a video out of that. But truth is there too much truth? Is there such thing as too much truth? Well, there is. First of all, there is. And I guess that's the answer to the question. So we don't need to do the rest of the video, right? With that, no, I'm kidding. But there is, and I can prove it to you really quick. I have a disease called ulcerative colitis. If you know what that is, you know you've heard enough. And if you don't know what it is, you can Google it because nobody wants to hear about what's going on. Nobody wants to hear about that. So if you want to go Google ulcerative colitis, I promise you there is a such thing as too much information. And every single doctor on the planet has to learn that too much information. But in all seriousness, though, is there too much truth? Like, I guess I got to thinking about this some too because I've been obsessed watching this Karen Reed trial. You watching this Karen Reed trial? It's incredible, and it's starting out slow. We're like a week in, and we're not even into the goody stuff yet. Like, we're not into the police botch and stuff. We're just into the couple of people that are part of it probably lying, it looks like, and making up new details for this trial, because why wouldn't they make up anyway? And it's interesting. And so one of the things that keeps happening is, as like witnesses are testifying, this one witness in particular, it looks like Jen McCabe, I think, she seems like she has to explain everything she says. She does not like giving yes or no answers. She does not like giving simple, concise answers. And I think that's funny because I'm pretty sure I'd be the same way. I would probably argue with the language of every question, just like she is. Like, were you escorted back? But no, we drove separately. Okay, I see your point. That's not really escorting. You drove separately. How is that escorting? But you were kind of together, following each other. Is that escorting? No, I kind of see it. But she comes across as a total bitch. And she's doing better than the last trial. She was a nightmare on the stand last trial. She, man, I was ready to stone her for being guilty of the crime of being too much like my ex-stepmom. But in that, she's always trying to explain stuff. And every once in a while, she's even been, admonished by the judge that only answer the question you're being asked, and don't answer extra. And that ate at me. I don't like that because, I've been to court for things like just, whatever, we all got divorces and shit, and you gotta do this. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but truth. And you're like, okay, I don't want to leave any details out. I had paperwork I had to file with the government. See, this is going to be one of those, I'm going to hold back some information here. I'm not going to say what this was about because, well, I got secrets too, yo. But I was filing paperwork with the government, and one of the requirements of what I had to submit, and the entire submission was submitted under oath as being true. And one of the one of the problems is I've always heard under oath, and this is literally a question. I talk to my, like, if my lawyer ever sees this, he's going to be like, yeah, that dude was an idiot. He was scared to shit over everything. There's the thing where you're signing everything I've submitted. And you got like a packet of paperwork that's like a fucking 3 reams of paper, right? Like, it's fucking crazy what's in this submission. One of those was they wanted an autobiography of my life story. Well, okay, here's the problem with that. You want me to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Am I supposed to sit here and write out 17 million pages of every literal thing I've ever remember happening? Like, well, that's not what they want, but that's what the oath says. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Well, the whole truth is there's a lot of stuff that I left out of that thing. I mean, who's got time to remember every detail of everything that ever happened? How do you remember everything that happened to you when you're like 4 or 5 years old? Like, because part of this is like I had to describe like my parents' divorce and what I remembered out of that. That was one of the big things I remember doing. And there was a few pages spent on that. And there was a few pages spent on some of my mental health excursions that we've talked about on this channel before. There were other times about, family life, interactions with stepmom. Like, there's all kinds of what my life was really about and how that was. And I submitted this. I was probably in my 30s by the time I had to do this. So I'd done some decent amount of living by that point. But in the submission of that, I got scared because I didn't put everything in there. I didn't have my best friends in high school listed out. I didn't have this. Just the major life events that seemed like we'd care about. And this is what I was coached to do by my attorney. And should I add this? Should I add that? And all the stuff he told me to leave out was but that's part of the truth too. And it was a real struggle for me to get through submitting that document, because how do you deal with that? You're going to have to swear. You're going to have to, I swear this is true and it's the whole truth. Well, is it? Is it? And then you've got these distinctions, and I'm not an attorney. So then there's these distinctions. Well, they have you say that, but what they really mean is you just can't lie about material facts. You can't omit material facts. Well, what's a material fact? When you have to submit your life story, submitted as an affidavit, who decides what's fucking material? Is it material that I remember that I was, a bedwetter till I was 4 or 5 years old? Is that material? I don't think I put that in there. Am I going to get in trouble for that? Some people wet the bed until they're 4 or 5. It is what it is. And I remember having these issues with that, and trying to reconcile that. And so as the judge in this Karen Reed case tells the witnesses, only answer the question you're asked. Well, yeah, but she just swore to tell the whole truth, and you're telling her now not to do that. That seems conflicted to me. And I understand, you gotta have rules and proceedings, but how do we live in a world where life is that complicated now that we fucking need an attorney to decide whether or not we're telling the truth, and if it's the whole truth, and we need lawyers and judges to sort out all of that? And so we end up in this place in society where we want truth, and we want, or I don't know, maybe I'm the last one. I guess the more I look out, the more I just think that truth is too much for everyone. And that's part of the problem too, right? When truth is as hard as the world is sometimes, how do we accept that? What are we just supposed to admit that everything working that hard is true? Or are we just trying to, stick our head in the sand, do the ostrich thing and avoid that information? Because if we don't know it, we don't have to act on it. We don't have to do anything about it. But is that going to make it better? Is that going to make it worse? Is it going to change anything? I don't know. I'm sure there's a certain segment of us that could do absolutely nothing, and it'll affect that nothing perfectly fine. But I don't know. I guess it's just this question of, is truth a big enough concept to support I don't know, a channel or an identity, or I don't know, I guess at least a daily conversation. Like, is that enough to support that? I don't know. I guess that's the question I have to wrestle with. And I guess I feel like I just naturally keep gravitating toward this subject because it's one of my highest values, right? Like, we talk about that all the time. And I've even gotten some compliments about, some of my content and how people enjoy the refreshing or the honesty and whatnot. And I don't know, like, I look out in the world and I'm not, like, it's hard for me to see that. And it's hard for me to believe that there's a place for what I'm doing, I guess, because so few people seem interested in it. Like, we have this crisis in the media where there's these alternate facts and people are just, spewing all of this information that isn't true, or just laughing at things when we're lied to by our politicians. They just laugh at it and say, oh yeah, that's funny, he's just saying stupid stuff. Or like they give them passes. Like, it's not weird and crazy that we're constantly everybody's just lying to our faces, telling us things that clearly just aren't true. I was watching an interview where Trump said that there were tattoos on a man's knuckles that we've all seen the picture for, and he literally was lying to us about what was in the picture. He literally says that what we see in the picture isn't what's going on, that he's actually tattooed there, and that now don't get me wrong, there is a tattoo in the picture, but there's also like a key above the tattoos across these knuckles that is photoshopped in, trying to represent that they are claiming that these symbols have certain meanings to these MS-13 characters. And that's what this picture is trying to show. But he says, and there's no way it could be true with the picture, the Photoshop doesn't even have them completely on the finger. Like, they're not distorted around the fingers or anything like that. It's clearly just photoshopped in numbers trying to key off what the tattoos on the fingers actually mean. And Trump is literally, the interviewer is saying, well, that's just an interpretation of what those symbols could mean. I'm not an expert in that, but the MS-13 isn't literally tattooed there. And Trump literally stops and argues with him for a couple of minutes on this. And it's mind-boggling. Like, why would you do that? Why wouldn't they just show the picture, pull up the picture, look at this and go, look, this is what's going on. Do you see now? But I think Trump would have said, no, that's still a tattoo. He would have said whatever he thinks people will listen to him. And he may be right. People just take what he says as though it's truth no matter what. And that's a scary place to be, right? We don't want to be there. I think it's funny that the same group, like Trump's sitting there with that. And then we've got RFK Jr. trying to throw out science and say that vaccines are the cause of, I don't know, all the world's problems now, all the disease we have, all the mental illness we have, all the rises in that, I think, is now part of vaccines, according to him. And why is it that so much of the world will blindly believe in a man who, whatever he says goes, and yet he picks a man who literally says, well, just don't believe the experts and believe me? Like, why do people believe this? Like, if you're going to not trust scientists, why do you trust the people that are, like, saying that also, like, you can't, I just don't understand how people blindly blame, like, all of the science, or they say that science, and the science is lying to us. There's a lot of science that we're fed that is lies, and that doesn't help the situation because people are interested in their careers. They're interested in lying. And this is another place that truth just is totally eroded in our society because we have tied the truth. We have placed more value on dollars than we have on truth. It's mind-boggling to me. Like, Fox paying out that huge settlement for lying about voting machines being insecure and rigging the election in 2020. Like, I don't understand how we can live in a world where somebody can be let off. Now, I guess I understand they settled, instead of the courts enforcing it, I guess the settlement went through or whatever. But it's just hard for me to understand how somebody can literally admit that, yeah, we lied about that. We're going to get taken to that task in court, and we're going to pay out over $750 million to settle that. If you're lying about the election in your country, how in the fuck do you get to walk away with a penny after that? Anybody complicit in that should have had everything that they made from that stripped from them. Anything that they made. All of Fox News being a news station, every last bit of it should have been ripped from their fingers, because they got there by lying. They got there by putting this country in jeopardy. And make no mistake, if this country falls, it is Rupert Murdoch and his willingness to spread lies and propaganda that got us here. No question about it. It's as simple as that. Rupert Murdoch enjoys lying. He enjoys his control. He enjoys his puffy little billionaire control of the world. And that's how we got here. Anyway, I guess I don't know how we got here. I guess this will be today's video, because mostly it's just I wanted to ponder the truth, and what is too much truth. But I guess we ended up here, and that's something that I'm going to do from time to time. So anyway, I guess that's just some things to think about. And until next time, then, be well.